Hello.
Bye. What up, party people? Hi. As you can see, we are back in Dubai, and by we I mean I am back in Dubai. A lot of things are going on in the world, so let's dive right in. Picking up where we left off last time, Robert was in Spain. It was lovely. We did adventures. Robert had a week left, I think at the end of the last vlog. He was leaving like the following week. So let's pick up there. Robert's last weekend, we did a kayak like tour kind of thing up north of where we were. So we're in Alicante, and then we went north towards, I don't know the name of the town. I thought it said Boredom. It didn't. It was like Bedendorm or something. But we went up there, and we did Robert found us a kayaking and like cliff jumping thing. It wasn't that tall. It could have been taller. And we like went into a sea cave. You'll see some pictures. And then we explored a beach, and we saw a lighthouse. We did a lot of outdoor activities. I've decided I don't think I like kayaking. It's a lot of work, and I could just swim. I don't think I need to do such an upper body workout. I mean, I was exhausted. My arms were sore for like 2 days afterwards. I was like trying to take notes in class. I'm like, my arm is sore. It hurts. So anyway, and the water was very clear, but like kind of gooey. There were like these like poof, like the seaweed had these like poof balls. It was cool. It was cool. We saw some fishies. And it was like there were these like 10 guys or 8 guys who were all turning 40, and they all grew up together in like Bristol in England, and they all grew up together. And so when they all turned 40, they decided, okay, we're going to go and do a celebration to prove we're not old. So they came to Spain and to Alicante, and they were doing this like kayaking trip. It was fun. It was funny, and they were funny, and it was fun. And that was our weekend. We did a lot of activity. We saw the castle as well, because there was like a pirate theme at the castle in Alicante, and I was like determined to go because I thought it sounded so cool. It was for children, but you know, that's fine. And the castle was like, having never been sieged. And like, if you see a picture, you'll be like, that's why it was never sieged. Not because it was so well fortified, but because it was like up a mountain. Like, it's huge. Very tall. So of course it's never been sieged. Cannons can't even reach that high up. It's like an orbit. So that was our last weekend. We played. And then Robert left the following, like, Saturday. Number one. So I can't do a full yawn because my throat hurts. We'll get there. So Robert left, and I had 1 week after Robert left to play by myself. And so I did. I went out and got snacks and like coffee and cake with one of my teachers, Freynette. She's so cool. She reads, so I got her reading ACOTAR, obviously. For those of you who don't know, ACOTAR is A Court of Thorns and Roses. It's one of my favorite book series. It's by Sarah J. Maas. Book 2, A Court of Mist and Fury, is my favorite. That blanket right there, bing. Mom got it for me for Christmas like a million years ago, like when we first moved to Saudi. And it has A Court of Mist and Fury, book 2, my favorite, like printed on it. And sometimes when I'm in therapy, I sit there and I read the book instead, and I have to like turn the blanket over. Chef's kiss. So she started reading it. I won't spoil it if any of you might read it one day, any of the like 2 people watching, but it's very good. And so she sends me voice notes in Spanish of like where she is. I understand like maybe 42% of what she's saying, but like I can tell she's excited. So I'm like, yay, thumbs up. Woohoo. Woohoo. So she and I got along real great. She'll probably read my book next. She's a translator, so if I ever want my book to be translated into English, she's my girl, or into Spanish, from English into Spanish, she's my girl. I did pass my exam, so I got to move into A2, level A2, so we did 2.1 the past 2 weeks. Spanish is hard. Sorry. It's 2. Spanish is hard. There's a lot of rules. Luckily, since I'd been at the school for so long, and like I've been trying to learn Spanish for so long, to me, there are just things in Spanish you just have to deal with. Oh well, there's not a rule. There's a rule, but there's not a rule, so okay. Some of my new classmates who like had just gotten there like at the beginning of A2, they hadn't accepted that yet, and so it was very frustrating because they would be like, well, what about this? What about this? And I'm like, you just have to accept that like you're gonna have to memorize it. Just commit it to memory, sir. So a little frustrating. I'm just so smart. So I'm drinking my tea from my throat, which is very sore, and I'll get there. So anyway. Oh, and while Robert was still here, We went to the beach, to like Robert's last day on the beach or whatever. And it was like 2 p.m. And we've been swimming, as you know, in that like channel or whatever on the swim lane. And it's only 2,000 meters. And I was like, I can do that, right? Like if I can do a mile, I can do 2,000. It's the same way I felt about running a marathon. If I can run 6 miles, then I can run 12. And if I can run 12, I can run 13. And if I can run a half marathon, I can run a marathon. So I was like, if I can swim a mile, I can swim over a mile. I mean, it's swimming, you know? And swimming's the easiest thing for me. I don't even really get winded. I just get bored. And so I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And it's not even, because the problem was it was murky. Like when the water's murky, for some reason, I would absolutely freak out. Like I had to stop one morning and come back in because I was like panicking underwater because I couldn't see, and it was unnerving me that I couldn't, like it felt dangerous. I know it wasn't. I mean, it's a swim lane. It's perfectly deep. There's no rocks that are close enough to you to cause a problem. There's not even sharks in the area. There's like jellyfish, but like they're just little blobs. So I don't know why I was freaking out. I do have a reason to be tired, and I'll get there too. But I couldn't do it, and so Robert rented a kayak, a 2-person kayak that he manned for 47 minutes as he followed me as I swam against the current in waves. You'll see Robert took a video of me like finishing. I ended up going 2,265 meters. Meters. So a little over a mile. A mile is 1,600 meters for reference. So a little over a mile. And I'm trying to think it was a mile and a half, but it wasn't. It was 200 meters away from being a mile and a half. Ugh, should have kept going. But anywho, it was a lot of fun. The waves were crazy big, so I felt like I was like, ooh. At least I breathed on both sides, so I wasn't like too shooketh. And then I kept trying to do breaststroke because sometimes if the waves were so big, I went to breathe in and just got a face full of seawater. But I did it. I'm a champion. And the guy at the kayak place was like, you're going to swim next to him? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, are you a good swimmer? I was like, yeah, I guess. And then Robert went and told the lifeguard while I was changing, like, hey, I'm about to follow my wife. She'll be swimming the whole distance. And the guy was like, can she swim? And Robert was like, yeah, okay. And they were like, okay. Like, why did you tell us if she can swim then? I digress. Anywho, hold on. Sorry, I had mucus. Anyway, my last week of classes was good. It was bittersweet. My person I'd been having like individual instruction with, because I did 30 hours. It was like 2 classes and an individual for an hour at the end of the day. Juan Jose had a meeting in Madrid all this past week, so I had, I had classes with Victor, this fella named Victor, and he was adorable. And we laughed. My Spanish, I do feel confident in my Spanish. I'm getting better. I can feel it. I think I'm definitely about to hit like another slump because I'm pausing for now because we've got so much going on, but also because we're getting to the part where like there really aren't rules that apply to everything and you just like kind of just know, so it's a little confusing. But I have like all my notes and I feel I can at least carry like a conversation with a child, kind of. Speaking of child, Freyna has a little 4-year-old daughter, and so I had the greatest time. I did what my mom does, and I'm like, oh, are you playing? And she knows English, but I was trying in Spanish. And she kept looking at me like, you don't know what you're saying? And I'm like, I know. But I did know, like, ¿qué color es? Like, what color is this? And she'd be like, oh, amarillo. But she refuses to say azul. She only says blue. I'd be like, oh, what about this one? And she's like, blue. I'm like, oh. Amarillo, rojo, naranja, blue. I'm like, oh, all right. Blue it is. She's adorable. We became best friends. She started off not really even looking at me, and then by the end, she was holding my hand. So basically, we're BFFs now. And that was Thursday. So I went running. I didn't get to swim again, which is fine. I didn't like get in the water again, which is also fine. But I did eat outside and look at the things. And look at the sea. And it rained a couple days, which was crazy because people were like, it never rains here. And then it was like, whoa, thunderstorms and like shaking the windows and stuff. It was what people lost internet and like power. Wild. And that was my last week. I just kind of vibed. I cleaned up. I finished my manuscript, book 2. Draft 1 of book 2 is finished. It has been sent to my beta readers to see if they feel like, yes, this is what the characters would do. I've only gotten good reactions from people who've been reviewing my book online, knock on wood somewhere, like, I've only gotten good reviews, which makes me so nervous for book 2, because what if, like, book 1 is being received so well, and I don't want them to get to book 2 and then be like, oh, she flopped. I don't want to flop. And there's a lot of things happening in book 2, but it's just, she is, like, stationary, kind of. I don't know. I don't want to ruin it for anybody. But I'm a little nervous, so we'll see. Carter has been really, really amazing. She's a family friend. Not just my friend, but I've grown up with her is what I'm saying. She's Edward's age, my little brother. And she's been amazing. So I've been sending her the chapters, and then I ended up was like, okay, I'm just going to pause here and then send you, like, everything. Because she went on a trip, and I was busy. So I sent her the whole thing, and she's been really good about writing notes and being like, I don't think she'd say this. Like, this is not at all how they would react, or maybe try to reword this here. This is weird, or, like, this is a pop culture reference that doesn't make sense in this context. So she's been really helpful, and I'm going to keep giving her props, and I'm sure she's so tired of me being like, thanks to Carter, shout out to Carter, Carter's the best. But, like, newsletters, Instagrams, everything, I'm like, shout out to Carter, she's a huge help. The book's dedicated to you, you're a huge help. So she's been really helpful, as I will say, for, like, the 112th time. So yeah, with the book, the rough draft is done. And now that it's done, I'm going back through. I've already have, like, 3 note pieces, like, note cards, what are these called? Sticky notes. 3 of them over here that, like, when I was reading it on the plane, one of my a million plane rides, we'll get there, I decided, okay, I need to change this part. I want to adjust this part. So they're reading it on the Google Doc while I'm kind of editing it from the bottom up, because I've kind of already edited the first part. And then I'll send it to Kristen, my editor, who edited book 1. She's phenomenal. And then I'll send it to a formatter. I'm not taking the time to learn how to format. My time is more valuable than that. I have book 3 to write, which I started writing on one of the 100-hour plane rides, which brings me to the 100-hour plane rides. So buckle in. Okay, so Robert and I's 5-year wedding anniversary, 5 years, was on Saturday, the 7th of September. For those of you who forgot, we'll just pretend you texted us happy anniversary. So I wanted to make sure that I got to see him. He was unfortunately in Saudi, so that meant I needed to leave Alicante, Spain early to go to Saudi. So I did. I had my plane ticket. Everything was prepared. I even got a taxi to come pick me up. So at 3:30 in the morning, Friday morning, the 6th, I got in a taxi. It was very early. I was very tired. My taxi driver was like, oh, I'm from Venezuela. And I was like, oh, soy de Estados Unidos. And he was like, why are you here? All of this is in Spanish, mind you, at 3:30 in the morning, after I was sick all night from eating bad dumplings. So I was like, I'm learning Spanish because I want to. Like, my husband speaks Spanish. And he's like, oh, your husband's Hispanic. And I was like, no, he's white. He was like, oh, where do you live? And I was like, oh, Saudi Arabia. And he was like, why? And I was like, because my husband speaks Arabic. And he was like, your husband's Arab? And I was like, no. He's white. Like, I know, it's weird. It's just going to keep getting weirder. Maybe just ask other questions. So I talked to him in Spanish the whole 45-minute ride to the airport. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so tired. He said, I was like, it's very early. And he was like, you can always practice. I'm like, okay. But I felt really confident when I got out of the car. I was like, oh. I even texted my teacher and was like, I feel so good right now. Like, I feel so smart. So my trip, we did, like, the cheapest trip possible because I'm not wasting money to go to Saudi Arabia. Like, that's ridiculous. So we did the cheapest trip possible. We went from Alicante, we being me, went from Alicante to Palma, Mallorca. Well, my teacher, when I told him, like, the day before, oh yeah, I'll be laying over in Palma, Mallorca and Milan, he was like, oh my gosh, you have to get this, like, bread thing in Palma, Mallorca. It's like kind of like an elephant ear, but it's baked, not fried. It's that right there. It looks like a pizza box. And I was like, okay. He's like, it'd be such a good present for your husband. He would love it. And I was like, all right. He's like, it's not too sweet. It's good. And then, okay, that's fine. Yeah, I'll grab one. Well, they're huge, but, you know, I was like, okay, well, I'll see my friends. Like, we'll see our Saudi friends on Saturday, so we'll just all take a bite of this cake thing. So in Palma, Mallorca, stop 1, I buy this cake thing right there. And I'm like, great. It's in a box. It's in plastic. Everything's sealed. Okay. So I get on my EasyJet flight to Milan. Well, my EasyJet flight to Milan gets in a Scotialite. That's fine, but I had to check my bag because it weighed 20 kilograms. So it's a carry-on. It's Margaret's red MVH carry-on, like, rolly suitcase, but it is very heavy. So they're like, yeah, that has to go above. Like, that can't go above. It has to go below. Okay, so I checked it. Well, we get in a little late, and then I have to wait for my bag. And then I run out, and I can't figure out where I am. And it says Terminal 1, like, you've arrived in Terminal 1. Terminal 1 departures is over there. So I was like, great. So I run to Terminal 2 departures. And it's like, sorry, this is only EasyJet. And I'm supposed to be taking a Wizz Air flight. So I was like, Jesus. So I run back, and I was like, where the heck is Terminal 1? And they're like, oh, you have to take a bus to Terminal 1. I was like, what? So then I go to the bus stop, and I'm waiting, and I'm looking. And then I see this girl running across the street. And I was like, where's she going? And she said something autobus. And I was like, oh, no. So then this lovely French lady was like, do you want me to translate for you? Like, do you have a question you can ask the Italians? And I was like, yeah. So we asked the Italians. She translated, and she was like, oh, yeah, we're in the wrong spot. We got to go over there. Like, it says bus stop, like actively Terminal 1 bus stop. So then we follow, and they're like, all right, next bus is in 15 minutes. My flight is at 2:05, right? Online, it says 40 minutes before your plane leaves, you can still check in. I'm like, okay. I've got time, because it's only like 12:50. I'm like, okay, I've got time. Well, then it hits 1 o'clock, and I'm like, if I could just get to the counter, right, by like 1:05, no. I get there at 1:02, okay, 1:02, roll up, can't find my counter, doesn't exist. And I'm looking on the board, and I'm going, I know, like, there's a gate number, where's the check-in counter number? I'm running around, calling Robert, freaking out, because I've already been traveling since 3:30 in the morning. It's almost 3 in the afternoon at this point, it's like 1. By 1:15, I finally find the desk where they're supposed to be. It's completely empty, not even a sign for Wizz Air. And I'm like, what? And so I go ask people, I'm like, hi, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to check into my flight. I still have 50 minutes before my flight takes off. And they're like, yeah, Wizz Air closed like 20 minutes ago. I'm like, sorry, what? So then I called Robert, freaking out, and he was like, hold on, let me look. Turns out there are like 5 airports for all of Wizz Air in the world that Wizz Air allows them to close the gates an hour or more at their discretion for, like, close the gates. So it didn't matter. I shouldn't have been running around because they'd already closed it anyway. They were like, no, well, we're mostly here. And then they closed it. So I missed my flight. And at this point, I'm pouring sweat and like dry heaving in the bathroom because I'm tired and I haven't had proper food and I've been sitting in like cardboard seats and I just want to sit still and I want to sleep and I'm hungry and I was already not getting into Saudi until 10:35 at night after waking up at 3:30 in the morning. And now I just knew it was going to be more delays. So I called Robert and I was like, I found a flight. I need you to book it. I'm crying. Like, just book it. Book this one to whatever on Jordan Airway. And my sweet husband upgraded me for the long flight because he was like, you are so tired. You deserve to sleep. So I got a bed sleep. I got one of the it wasn't a full bed because it wasn't like a transatlantic flight, but it was like a half bed. So like you could lay like mostly almost like in a lawn chair, It was lovely. I slept for like all of it. Excuse me. That's 6. And so I did get to go into like the lounge because I had a fancy ticket. And I got to eat the lounge food, which was delicious. So I flew from Milan. I had a 3-hour wait in Milan. And then from Milan, I flew to Amman, Jordan, where Robert and I went on holiday. And then I stayed in their lounge for like 3 hours. Talked to mom and dad for like 2 of it. Great. Then I flew from there to Riyadh on like a 2-hour or 3-hour flight. I think it was an hour 50 minutes in theory. And then I had to get my luggage. And then I waited in Saudi in the line for like 45 minutes. And it wasn't moving. And I was calling Robert because he was coming to pick me up. And I was like, dude, you're going to have to just take a nap in the car because like it's not moving. And at this point, it's 3:30 in the morning again, like on Saturday, our anniversary. So at 4:15, when I'm finally through passport control, I get in the car with Robert. And we plug it into our phone. And we're like, okay, it's like 4 in the morning. There's no way there's going to be traffic. Wrong. Saudi surprises us yet again. We forgot it's Saudi, so of course there's traffic at 4:15 in the morning. Everybody's going home from their parties. So we get back to our hotel at 5 a.m. and I was bushed, and I'm like, this is it. This is how I go. Like, I'm gonna be so tired, my body's just gonna shut down. And we both go back to sleep, and we wake up at like I think 11 because we have brunch with our friends. It's supposed to be at 12, but I texted them when I missed my flight and said, look, I'm not supposed to even get into the country until 3:30 in the morning. So, like, there's no way I'm going to be up and moving by 12, which is true. Like, there's just no chance. So, we moved it to 1. We woke up at, like, 11 anyway and just kind of, like, laid there and vibed because we were so tired. Went to brunch. Was lovely. Went to the mall and looked for stuff for Victor's wedding because his dress code is very strange. It's like chic casual or something. I don't know what that means. I'm wearing a dress. But Robert wants to look trendy, which he should because he's a trendy person. And I just we're looking for chinos, and it's apparently quite hard to find them. We almost bought some polo chinos, but they were like $1 trillion, so we were like, all right, I guess we'll just wear what we have. Because someone was like, oh, just wear like nice pants and a top. And I'm like, nice pants and a top? For boys or girls? Like, I don't have nice pants and a top. I didn't have nice pants, nor a top, let alone together. So, no. So we decided we were going to go to the mall, and then I was like, okay, I can't do this. Like, I have to take a nap. I'm like asleep standing up. So then we went back to the hotel and crashed from like 5:30 to 7:30. We were just, like, we both woke up, and I was like, I can't move. I've been hit by a bus. Someone drove in a bus in here and hit me with it because that's how I feel right now. And Robert felt the same way. And then we like forced ourselves to get up and go to get pizza at our pizza place in the DQ. Delicious as always. This is so good. Like I said, I deserve to be tired. And then they have a rewards program now at the pizza place, so I'm very excited. We forgot to take the cake to the friend's brunch that we had, so I'm like, okay. And then when we opened it for us to eat it later Saturday night, we realized that the icing has to be cooked, and we didn't have a microwave. I'm like, oh my God. So then I carted it with me all the way back here. So tonight we're eating this stupid cake, and it better be delicious. It's been sat on, thrown into the bottom of an airplane. Like, it better be good. It's been the most well-traveled. Dad said it's the most well-traveled dessert on the planet. It's gone to like 4 countries. No, truly. It was in Spain. It was in Italy. It was in Jordan. And now it's in Saudi Arabia. No, and now Dubai. So it's been in 5 countries. Unopened, mind you. And every time someone's like, are you bringing a pizza on an airplane? I'm like, no. It's a cake. Kind of. It's bread. I don't know. It's from Palma Mallorca. I don't know. But then I left. We went into a cafe yesterday. And then I left, my plane was at like 4:30, and then I got here, and I took a taxi, talked to Mom and Dad. My taxi driver tried to take me to a construction site, and I was like, you know that you're taking me home, though, so like, why would I be living here in this pile of dirt? Like, clearly this isn't where people live, and even the security guard, who was the guard at the construction site, we were driving on gravel at this point, and I can see my building, it's like over that fence, and the construction guard is like, this is a construction site. And the guy's like, but the phone says, and the guard's like, there's no buildings here. Like, there's nothing here. Why are you here? So at 8, I finally got home. And then my friend Massa was like, I'm coming to get you. Because we've missed each other. It's been a long time. So Massa came and got me, and we were going to have pudding for dinner. But then we were both really hungry. So we had P.F. Chang's. And then I got my normal, like, 6 dumplings, edamame, rice, and then, like, some spring rolls. Just 2 little spring rolls. And I was eating my dumplings, and I was so excited. And on the 4th of the 6th, I took a bite and then looked in the middle. I try not to look in the middle of my dumplings. They creep me out. But I looked at it because it was just what I did, and it was pink. The chicken dumpling I was eating was, like, hot pink. And I was like, oh, no. This is not good. So then I asked the guy, I was like, hey, like, my dumplings, the middle is pink. Like, is that okay? And he was like, yeah, of course. I was like, I just feel like it's chicken, and it shouldn't be that color. And he was like, oh, it's because it's steamed. And I was like, okay, so I didn't eat any more of it. And I feel fine. My stomach hurts a little bit, but I've also been traveling and eating like garbage, so that's probably it. But Massa, her shrimp like was kind of weird looking. It was like really orange. It was like bang bang shrimp or something. Like it was covered in a sauce, but it just looked weird. She's like, it's really chewy, and I was like, then don't eat anymore. So we like both were like, oh, we don't feel good. And last night she actually did get sick. And she's texting me like, did you get sick? And I'm like, actually no, I just have a sore throat, and I have a sore throat from all the traveling, and because Saudi's so dry. It's like it zapped all the moisture out of my throat. So it's like very sore. Here comes a yawn. Wow. That's 8. It's very sore from being so dry. And I was kind of like, Robert, you're such a baby. It's fine. And then I got there, and within like an hour, I was like, oh, this sucks. I'm like texting him like, I'm really sorry. My throat hurts really bad. You're so right. Like, so anyway. Robert's gifted me for our anniversary, other than the house, it's wood. We try to follow each year's theme or whatever. And so this year was wood. And so we were like, oh, we got each other a house. That's our gift to each other, a house. It's got wood in it. Mom and Dad were like, we gave you floors. But then I was like, oh, I still want to get him something. And Robert felt bad. He was like, I want to get you something too. And we were like, no gifts. So I still did a gift anyway. And I was like, okay, I'm going to get him a magnolia tree. And we're going to put it in the yard. Not the little gem from the wedding, because that feels like a permanent thing. And this house isn't permanent to us, so we're just renting it out and things. So I still want to put a magnolia there because it's important to us. And he was like, okay, good. And then he was gonna get me these cute turtle earrings. They were not cute though at all. Like, they were turtles, so I love them, but I was like, he's like, do you want these? And I was like, no. He's like, I haven't bought them yet. And I was like, good, don't. They're cute, but they're not worth like $23. Do not buy those. But he did end up upgrading me, and that was because I was stressed out, but I pretend it's my anniversary gift because it was very nice. And I got like real food on the plane, which I hadn't had the whole journey. I was eating like crackers from my bag and like water, and I had to like hardcore chug. I had like a breakfast yogurt at the very first plane ride, and I like was in security, and they're like, that's liquid. And I was like, oh my God, I forgot, because I thought it was like, oh, yogurt is a food. So I'm like knocking back like a little like water bottle amount of liquid yogurt at 4 a.m. I'm like, good Lord. So it was, at least to say, I was nauseated for pretty much all of Friday and like most of Saturday, and then now also today. And then Mass and I have plans this week. We're going to go do crafts. We're going to get our nails done because I desperately need it. Look at this one. It's like, well, you can't really see it, but I desperately need it. And then this week is when it gets crazy. We go on technically Thursday morning, but it's like Wednesday night at like 3 a.m. Thursday morning. We fly to France. It's actually midnight, I think, because we get there at like 6:30 in the morning. And then we get our rental car, and Robert and I just go ahead and drive to Normandy Beach. We're going to do a whole day of Normandy Beach, touring Normandy Beach and all that jazz. I really want to get a metal detector. Robert's like, that's weird, why? And I'm like, what do you mean, why? So many reasons. 1, bullets. 2, comedy. Just raw comedy. And then our friend's wedding is on Saturday. So we're very excited. All of us, except for 2 of our friends, are staying in this like big chalet together. And so we were looking at the floor plan at brunch. I was looking at with Layal and Abdullah, 2 of my friends, and I'm like, they're not called bedrooms, they're called chambers. There's 6 chambers in the house. And I was like, okay, well, there's only one that's just a queen bed. So like there's 2 other ones that have queen beds, but they also have like a little like twin bed in it or whatever, like a cot. And I was like, Robert and I, as the only married couple in the whole group until Saturday when Victor gets married, we will be taking chamber 3, which is the queen bed alone. He said, you're welcome to have whatever else you want. But we're getting there first anyway. So I was like, it doesn't really matter what you guys say. We're getting there first. And they're like, no, it makes sense. I'm like, all right. I was willing to fight for it, but since you guys are being so nice, thank you. So we're very excited. I thought it was going to be a spring wedding or like summer, fall maybe. No, it's like 7 Celsius. It's freaking freezing is what it is. I don't know how to translate that to Fahrenheit. I just know cold. 45. It's 45 Fahrenheit because we looked at it. And I don't have that. I was going to wear yellow, like a summer yellow, spring yellow. So now I have to go find like a sweater and then like a nice jacket because it's like fancy. It's like a bougie wedding because his dad was like an ambassador or something. So like, crap. And we've got like he was like, oh yeah, like the dinner on Friday, it's casual. There's just like 80 people. I'm like, casual for 80 people? Casual for me is leggings. He's like, you can wear whatever you want. And I was like, no, I cannot. What I want is pajamas. I can't wear that to a casual 80-person gathering. With like the prime minister, like, no, I gotta wear something fancy. So that's on Mass and I's to-do list, is to find me something to wear that's nice but not too nice, because I've packed all my other clothes away. They're all packed. This is the last thing to be packed right here. And then like our shampoos and our plates. So yeah, we've got a lot going on this next week. I'm gonna try to get most of the book edited. I would like to send the book to the editor. Carter and Emma, if you're watching this, don't freak out. I would like to send the book to the editor, like post being beta read and post being edited by me by early October, and so that I can be like ready to rock and roll, because I want to publish. I'm not gonna say when. You'll have to just follow me on Instagram, Shelby Oval. Yeah. Anyway, and my cousin Neely, she's a preacher. She's my oldest cousin on my mom's side. She like posted something about my book, which I didn't know about. Neely, if you're watching this, tag me next time, girl. Shelby or just me. Shelby or Shelby. She was like, one of her like staff members or something at the church was like, hey, I saw that you posted about Shelby Oval's book. Like, how do you know the author? I just read that book. Like, how do you know her? And Neely was like, no way. Like, that's my cousin actually. And she was like, oh my God, wow, I love the book. Obviously. And Neely was like, I don't want to sound mean, but like, I didn't realize people were like reading it. I mean, people were reading it, but I didn't think it was like out there. I was like, okay, well, yeah, it kind of is. Like, I've sold like 200 something, so I'm feeling like it's a real thing. I almost made $500 on Amazon alone. So that's something. I've only gotten positive reviews. Again, knock on wood, but like that feels promising, right? Anyway, that's us up to now. I'm thinking, I don't think there's anything else that I can really think of. We're just kind of making sure, like I'm here, just making sure things get packed up. Robert should come in today once he gets his Iqama from Saudi. We're hoping he'd get it yesterday so we could fly together. But it didn't work out that way. So hopefully he'll come in tonight because we fly out on, like I said, Wednesday from Dubai. So he kind of needs to be here to be on that plane. And then, yeah, that's our thing from us for now. I love Spain every second of it and I want to go back tomorrow, but I cannot. So anyway, that's us. And I'll check back in probably in 2 weeks, like after the wedding. And we might go on a trip the weekend after the wedding because Robert might have Saudi day off. And if that's the case, we might go to like the Maldives or something because we have a free weekend. So why not pack it full of fun? Plus, all of our furniture will be out of this house. That's ours, like the desk and the bookshelf and the plates and stuff. So there'll be no reason to stay here. So we'll see. I will update you guys if anything dramatic happens. And if you want to see pictures of the wedding and stuff before the next vlog, you can follow me on Instagram or Robert on Instagram. I'm sure his pictures will be better quality. So yeah, thanks for watching and check back in with you later. Sorry for all the yawning, lady.
Here she comes, the champion from all the way at the other beach. Shelby Elaine Brantley hard! Whoa!
Happy 5 years! This is Victor, 7 days before his marriage. We will take a look at it 7 days after your marriage and see.
What did you do?
I wrote questions.
What? But you've played the game Headbands before.
It's Heads Up.
No, Heads Up is what you play in middle school.
No, Heads Up is this thing with the iPhone.
That's Headbands. You're supposed to be writing the answer to the question. Because is it like
Okay.
Jeopardy?
Stop.
Okay.
When I'm feeling really sexy,
Hey.
why we learn sign language.
So we could talk mad shit.
Yeah,
Okay. Is that what it said?
shit talk.
Yeah, okay.
That was me. I didn't do
I
that.
didn't do that. Hotel Transylvania? Okay. I didn't do that. Our mating sign. Wood Britain.
Causes you to be really stinky.
Bread. Cheese.
Yeah, gluten.
Gluten. Okay. Hey. Okay, what I do when I see something really, really cute.
Bird hands.
Yep. A song I cannot listen to because it makes me think of my brother and that girl that ditched him.
Hey there, Delilah.
Yeah.
Bitch.
What I call dogs that look like Edelby.
Wiener babies.
Yeah. A sound that I can make that I'm really, really good at making. That you don't know how I make it. animals make this sound, specifically pets. It's a sound.
Farts?
No, it's a sound I can make. Like with my mouth that sounds exactly the same. No. As another animal. As like something that like a dog would do.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It says cue dog throw up sound. Okay, we're at dinner and I have to make a phone call because I don't know what.
How you want your steak?
Yeah. How I want it or
like what kind of steak you want, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.